What's up, YouTube? This is Alejandro. We're going to talk about our first flip. I did this flip last year I believe I bought it in September. This was awful. It was horrible. It was the worst decision I had made financially in a while. I found this house. This house was in beyond disrepair. We're going to go from the beginning. I called the agent. They didn't answer. It was in the market. Waited 2 weeks, texting, nothing. Finally, she calls me, panicking. Hey, I have this house. You want to come see it right now? Sure. Okay. I go and see it. She's like, I'm driving there. She's like, hey, by the way, this is really bad. Like, this house is awful. We have a guy that wants to buy it for like 130, and we're just looking for anything bigger, higher. I was like, okay, cool. Like, I looked at it and I kind of like already did the numbers, like from the one photo in the front, looking at the neighborhood. I could buy it for like 160, and maybe if it was like 40,000 to renovate, I could sell it for 260, and I'll be good. I saw it. She just kept going on and on and on about how bad it is. I was like, ooh, that's a good thing, because that means that she thinks it's worth less than what I think it is. So I offered 155. It was bad. Like, it was definitely really beat up. 155, I was like, that's like 120,000 from like its repair value when I sell it. I ended up buying it for 155. That's so low. This is like 20 minutes from downtown Austin. You can't get barely anything this cheap. It's a big house. It's 3 beds, 2.5 baths. And it's 1,400 square feet, I believe. Yeah, exactly, like 1,400 square feet. So it's not small. It's 2 stories. It's beautiful. I had a business partner at the time. We put all of our money together from the BRRRR that we just did. Watch the last video about how I did that. And we put all 20 grand that I had. And obviously, 20 grand just to buy the house is not enough to fix it. So I had to be really creative. And I decided to raise money to renovate the house. So I raised $40,000 from 2 people. I paid them both, I believe, 18% on their money in a 6-month period. One of them I paid back in 2 months. The other one I waited the whole 6 months just because I could and used it for another deal. 40 grand total, and that was enough to renovate the house. I couldn't believe I raised that money. I called a bunch of people. I went on Facebook and networked with as many people as I can. These 2 hit me up, and we got the contract signed and we got it done. I bought the house, and now we're starting. I'm skipping a whole lot of details here because this was a nightmare to buy. The lady was so old. She had really bad dementia. Very sad story. I had to take care of her dogs for a little bit. They were really cute. I got them rehomed and everything. We started and we did the paint, flooring. We did the whole kitchen thing. I'm renovating a lot. I'm learning as I go. I already know a lot about construction materials, but I never done like a near gut job. This was like some areas were to the studs. New drywall, mold remediation, plumber work. I had electricians come out for a little bit, and we were also just like getting a bunch of our materials from Facebook Marketplace and Habitat for Humanity, very discounted prices. So this was overall so stressful. It also took us like a month and a half. I kept getting delays because more things were issues. The siding's rotten. The subfloor is really messed up. The gutters need to be replaced. We got to paint the outside. We needed a new roof. And initially, I didn't want to do half that stuff, but I ended up having to spend more than initially planned. So I ended up overspending. I put some money on credit cards, and after a month and a half, 2 months of labor, dude, I'm working a full-time job, and every single day I drive 30 minutes from work to this place and work there from like 6, because I get up at 5, till like 9:30, 10, till it's like black. And then I go home, repeat every single day. And if I'm not doing that, I'm on the phone also all day at work, coordinating my countertop guy, my roof guy, getting quotes on paint, on vanities, all sorts of stuff, and calling suppliers, and just like also getting bids for work. So it was an unbelievable amount of work. It was the hardest I'd worked in a month and a half period of time, probably ever. I was working easily 60 plus hours a week. I'm there every weekend too, replacing outlets and doing as much labor as I can myself. So all said and done, I put it in the market, got it on the market for $279. This was, I considered, a good price for how beautiful the house is. It is gorgeous. It is staged. It's beautiful. It's all new. It looks gorgeous. Like every single time like at the last few weeks that I was there, people would walk by that lived in the neighborhood and stop and look at the house the entire time. Like they would stop and look at me, and I'd be like, fix something. And they're like, hey. And I was like, oh, hey. Like, oh, we're about to sell it. Oh, I knew the old lady that lived here before. Very cool. I had like a few people be like, oh, thank you. This house is just getting so bad because she'd not been taking care of it. And keep in mind, guys, she had not replaced anything since she bought it in 92. 1992 was the last time she did any work. She had done no work to it whatsoever. Yes, I listed it for $279. At that point, I get one offer in 6 days. The guy wants $279 with a, I believe, $9,000 commission, which was a little bit high, but I was like, 6 days? Let's go. This is my guy. And he's pre-approved. He's bringing in like 10, 15%. All good. We get under contract. Everything's great. The inspection comes. Now here is where it gets really, really ugly. The inspection came out awful. It was so bad. Obviously, inspections are always like 100 pages, and they always point out a bunch of small things, but they pointed out some really, really big things that were all oversights on my part. Now, keep in mind, I had a partner this entire time that was working with me. I realized, the first deal, it was whatever. This deal, I realized that I'm too far ahead of him to continue working with him, because in the middle of we're doing a project, he's asking me what are the types of material, what types of flooring can we get? And I'm like, there's laminate, there's wood, there's LVT, tile, and like he just doesn't understand basic construction things, which is so odd because his dad is the contractor, or the main contractor at least, that is managing a lot of subs, or the subs that I would bring on, and he's also splitting the money with me. So he's slowing me down in that way where I'm having to explain basic construction things to him. And on top of that, at night, when I'm stressing working there, he would be texting me other houses. Hey, look, we should look into buying. I'm like, dude, why are you looking? We have a project right now. We're $40,000 in debt that I brought. We got to start working more. So, he'd be there, and he doesn't know any like crazy construction skills. So he would just be picking up trash, doing like cleaning, any like something that I could hire somebody for $10 an hour to do. Now we kept going, and I was like, fine. And there became a point 3/4 in where I just stopped talking to him. I was like, this guy doesn't get it, and I'm not going to talk to him anymore because he's not providing anything in this equation. Now we of course agreed to split the money 50-50, and I was still okay with that. So we continue. The inspection came back bad. Really bad. So, biggest one. My guy did a new roof. It was a referral from the contractor, his father, from church. This guy, Jose Luis, great guy, super chill. The roof was beautiful. He did it in one day, like in 6 hours with 4 guys. And so fast, so good. Even the inspector said the roof is really good. Like, it's one of the nicer roofs that he's seen. And he was so cheap. The bad thing is he didn't replace the roof decking. So if you don't know what roof decking is, under a roof there's OSB, which is like a pressure-treated, waterproof plywood. It was rotten because it had never been replaced, and the roof that was on before was so old that water was going through. The thing is that when you have rotten plywood, you can't just change the plywood. You have to take out the entire roof, take out the plywood, and then put new plywood and put new roof. So I wasted $7,000, and this meant that the new buyer would have to put on a brand new roof. So immediately $10,000, $15,000 off. I think it was 12. I paid like $7,000 for the roof. Obviously, actual quote from like a big company with like a nice shirt, $12,000, $10,000 easy. That's the biggest one. Number 2, there was like 4 or 5 leaks behind the walls that I wasn't aware of. That's great to hear, right? The guy turns on the shower, and there's a leak coming out right behind the shower, and there had been rot in that area, and we had cleaned it and replaced it, but I didn't look at any leaks because nobody showered there, so nobody had the water running like that, and it was all going behind, so the garage ended up flooding like halfway through the contract before it sold. Not good. On top of that, the siding, which is the exterior, it's called siding, S-I-D-I-N-G. It's the exterior part of the house. That was also, more than half of it was still rotten. I replaced around 1/4 of it. One whole side of the house I replaced because it was like sagging. The other areas looked fine to me, and I thought they were fine, but apparently they were rotten. I'm no expert, obviously. I made that poor call. But keep in mind, this guy is not helping. My partner's not helping me at all. He's not giving any instruction. I'm making all these calls. I'm telling him where to go to pick up stuff when I'm working. And nobody really helped me with that. I also don't have a mentor, guys. That's one thing too, is like I don't have anybody helping me at all with any of this. So I'm just figuring it out. So that's another $8,000 off. And outside of that, there was a bunch of small things. One outlet didn't work. The lights were poorly put in. One of the sinks wasn't correctly installed. There was a leak under one of the sinks too. A bunch of small things, and they were all just poor workmanship of guys that I hired. And the guy's dad also installed the floor completely incorrectly. Like, it was installed and looked okay, but any flooring guy would instantly be like, this is wrong. Like, this is not correct. So ended up, initially I came into the deal thinking I was going to make $50,000. I made -$2,000. I lost money on this deal. Okay. But keep in mind, I'm working the entire time. So I can't say that it was awful because I learned so much. So here's a caveat. I lost $2,000 in the deal, but my commission made me positive $1,000 or positive $1,500. So I made money. Obviously, the other guy, the other agent, made like $8,000 on commission. So he made more than me, and he didn't even do any of the work. But it still just told me, like, I sold it for $264 with like $20,000 commission, and it sold. The money got wired. So that kind of told me, like, wow, I can actually do this. And like I took on way too hard of a project the first time, and I've done more, and I've made money doing these other ones. I'm doing 3 more this month. It's 2025, early 2025 now. So I'm gonna make more videos about that. But that's the whole gist of it. It was an incredible learning process. Like I said a few videos ago when I talked about my yearly update, yearly recap, this was a time where I learned so much. I had managed a team of people, paid a team of people. I had both raised the money, found the deal, managed the team, list it, and sell it completely alone. I had forced equity into this house. Huge accomplishment for me. I'm extremely proud of what I've done in that case, and that pushed me heavily to do another one and go to the next one without a partner, because that partner was completely useless the entire time. All he really provided was his father, who he's a laborer, right? There's a million laborers, so it's not really a huge like. And he wanted half the money, and we didn't make really any money. Like I could have shared my $1,500 commission that I got, but what? I'm gonna split. Like that's my commission. So that's the whole thing. That's what happened. Extremely grateful for how things went, and this is really just another message of that you can flip houses, because I'm flipping houses down this high rate environment, and that was without any partners, with a partner, but not really any help. You can do it by yourself. It's crazy. It's awesome. It's so much fun. So that's the story of how I flipped my first house. I'm doing more, as you guys know. I don't want to do too many more because it's super stressful, but I love the grind, and I'll keep you guys updated with the next one. The next video I'm going to make is going to be about the first successful flip. This is a flip where I made just under $20,000 in with way less work, way less energy, much easier. So stay tuned for that one. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a nice day.